All right, so we're here with Alex talking about XO. You playing with my
Playing
foot?
footsie.
Hey, come on, man. Episode 48, and what are we talking about for episode 48?
Spicy topic. What drives the Forex market?
Yeah, I think we get that question a lot.
Yeah.
You know, especially for people that are not even aware of what Forex is. They just think it's either you're investing it or you're handling other people's capital, and then that's it.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah.
People don't really we'll talk about what is the Forex market? How does it work? What moves it? Because I think if you are a trader and you're listening to this podcast, you've probably heard what I used to hear all the time. All you need in Forex is market structure and price action. But that doesn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
That doesn't tell me what happens if a vaccine comes out.
Yeah.
That's what we're in talk. I mean, I'll open up with talking about, the things that drive the Forex market are things I learned from you and Michael, which are fundamentals. You want to talk a little bit about what are fundamentals?
Yeah. So fundamentals is just basically with our economy news, stuff that, that's really crucial. Like things that we use every day, like, gas, oil, commodities, things that we invest in, to hold capital. We also have banks that's heavily involved in the market that are majority the driving force of the market. You got commercial buildings at play. You got employment that also affects the market as well too. So anything that resolve of capital gain to within our country and how we handle economy stuff like trades within other countries, so exchanging rates for the dollar, that is very important. I feel like a lot of people don't really pay attention to it because realistically it's boring.
Yeah. It's not the most exciting thing.
Yeah, but
it's important.
And these are information that traders should be aware of. Like you should be up on, on Bloomberg, you should be on MSB, and actually paying attention to how they're giving out the format of, for example, if they're crude oil with Saudi Arabia, if we are having for instance, they had so much oil and it spilled in the Atlantic Ocean, how is that going to affect when you're looking at U.S. oil on your MT4, right?
Exactly.
So does that seem like a positive news that is going to be happening when all oil is spilling in the Atlantic Ocean? No. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be shorting that, right? So basic concept of our economy and stuff like that is the driving force. With we got central banks, we got big corporations, those are the ones that are very influenced in the market. You pay attention to where the saying that I always like to follow by is that you follow where the money's at. Right? Who has the big money, right?
Yeah.
You follow where the big money's at, then you're following that whole trace.
Yeah.
You're gonna be capitalizing off it. If you're not, then you're not gonna be lucky enough following that lead. So
yeah, I mean it goes by. The way I look at it is, if Forex trading was only looking at a chart going up and down, side to side, highs and lows, supply and demand, everybody be rich.
Yeah.
Why aren't all these traders balling? Because they're not paying attention to the most important thing. So that's why this topic is extremely important.
Yep.
I can speak from two sides. This helps me be a good trader and stay consistent during actually weeks like this. If you're listening to this podcast, this is December 15th. The charts are really weird. There's been a bunch of head and shoulders and double tops and stuff. People are getting caught because they weren't paying attention to the news, Brexit, and then also my personal experience after I'd gotten to 100K.
Let's talk about Brexit, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we all witnessed the British pound pairs open up for at least, I believe, 100 and something plus pips.
Oh,
right?
Blasted up. Yeah.
So the reason why it opened up was due to it's becoming very emotional. Right, so we're having a lot of people looking for a Brexit deal. They're hyping it up. They're like, "Yeah, we're gonna have this deal. We're gonna have this deal," and it's been pushing up, right? And if you guys been realizing, we're now on Wednesday, right? It has been continuously to keep pushing up, and everyone's still trying to figure out why is this still pushing up when there's a massive gap that needs to be filled, right? So everyone's looking for it to be rejected. But the way how I look at it is just that I feel like the way how they could accumulate from a lot of people like hyping it up, the way they could actually capitalize on the uptrend, right? And capitalizing and making money. It's all about making money. Like, you know?
Absolutely.
So like if you expect what a lot of people are going to be doing, which a lot of people are expecting it to come down and short, then that'd be too easy, right? You got to keep everyone on their toes, keep
That's
guessing.
what I'm saying. That's why when like the whole topic of this whole like podcast is Forex market is driven by fundamentals.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's news, it's economic policy, it's what our presidents and our leaders say, it's what the big banks do, it's what our emotions do. It's not just supply and demand. So if I'm a trader, or if you want to know like what trading is, you have to do more than just look at a chart and look. You have to, like, the real just badass traders are higher level, and they're looking at this stuff. They're looking at the news, like you, Michael Mays. I see you guys. We're on Bloomberg, Investor.com. We're actually like doing our due diligence, researching, planning, and executing. So the Forex market, $6.6 trillion industry, and it moves around. The money moves around. Banks move it around, and policies move it around. So if you're you know, looking into 2021, like what's going to happen, like this is important to be aware of, that like things are going to get weird with when vaccines come out and a new President Biden comes in. Well, we'll see. Some people still think Trump's going to stay, but it doesn't matter to me, but something's going to happen with the presidency. Economic policies could change, you know.
You got employment rates as well. You got what's the top of my head right now? You got GED news as well too. So you got a lot of like component factors, you know, that affects the market. You know, especially if you're looking at Pacific pairs. If you're looking at, you know, the British pound versus Australian dollar, you know, finding out which currency is stronger, right? You know, and then you want to dive in to what's happening within the country. You know, and that's where you're going to really find like the resources that it's there. Yeah. You know, but there's too many people that like to be sheep, you know, and they just follow just on what they see on the chart. And then it reflects back to like where you got your entries are. Like, oh, how did I miss this?
And then they never turn the corner, because I see traders, even people that like I joined the academy with, that either were at the same time as me or before me even. Like, why didn't they ever turn the corner to make 10K, 20K, 50K? Yeah. Because they literally just look at highs and lows, supply and demand, ups and downs. Yeah.
Price don't get me wrong. Like, it's great. That helps, but it's great to know that, like, the market structure and the technicals, but you also have to be fundamentally sound if you really want to take trading to the next level. You know, if you're there watching on the news, watch the news. Like, find out. You probably would even learn something that you weren't even aware of, that like, wow, like, and then you could look at the charts and see how that gets reflected, and you're like, damn, so this is the reason why.
That's true.
You know?
I learned so much.
Because like, you don't want to be like, oh damn, like I got in this trade, why did this go up, right? That is the most common trader that you will always find. Like, oh yeah, it went up, it was a stop hunt. What was the stop hunt for? Yeah. What did this news? What did the news that affected this pair to jump up the way it jumped up? Right. Those are the questions that you should be asking yourself from time to time, week to week, and hold yourself accountable, because like that really reflects on your trading plan. You know, if you want to hit those targeted pips every week consistently, focus where the money is moving. Focus where the money's moving, you're gonna capitalize. You can be a successful trader.
And you really it's people, all you really need is, I don't know, 30, 40 pips a day. You're good. And you can do that if you pay attention to the news. Yeah. It's crazy. I can say before I got into trading, I definitely didn't really watch Bloomberg. Yeah. I definitely didn't know this is sad. Y'all can laugh at me if you want, but it's truth. I didn't really know exactly what the NASDAQ is or the Dow Jones. Like, I see them on CNBC, but I don't really care if they go up or down. Like prior to this, I didn't know what it means if like the value of oil goes up or what president comes in. And now
we're even talking about housing rates, the mortgage.
Like, I didn't know any of that. And that's all cool. That's what's really cool, I think, about the trading world that people don't understand. They're like, yo, so what's this Forex thing, man? Like, how much do I have to invest? How does it work? Well, you're going to learn a skill. Yeah. You're going to learn how to solve a puzzle. And it's kind of like you said it too before. It's like a video game. Yeah. It is. And if you really want to play the video game, you got to find the cheat codes to win.
And guess what? The cheat code is Bloomberg. Yeah. And all of these news outlets are, talking about what's happening in our economy. That is your blueprint.
And the academy, and I'll give it the shout out. There's probably other great academies too. Like cheat code is like a real deal academy, whether it's Blue Capital or somewhere else. There's great academies out there. The good thing about our academy that I can take away is like there's a whole section on how to find the cheat codes on news. Like we give people the cheat codes, and that's how it should be. Obviously, you got the box strategy and stuff, but it's really cool. So like Forex, I get asked that question. Dude, I get asked that question 5 times a day. Okay, how much do I have to invest?
Yeah, what do I do?
It's a skill. You're learning a skill.
It's like you sit there and you're like, I don't want to be your advisor. Like, I honestly don't know how to answer that question. It's great and all, but do not want to be advising you.
I gotta go. Did I ever ask you that?
What?
Did I ask you how much do I have to invest?
Yeah.
I did. Damn it.
Yeah, and I was just sitting there like
this guy.
I was like, oh, we got another one, guys.
Because now I hate that question because I'm like, it's not. You're not investing an amount of money.
It goes to show you that trading Forex, especially now, is still brand new. Like I've been in it for 6 years, and I still encounter people that don't even know what the hell.
Your movers yesterday was like, what?
Yeah, he was asking me like return rates, and I'm like, look, bro, like this is a whole different ball game. Like it's just something that you could actually capitalize on the strength of the dollar by. Basically, I had to break it down in a different kind of term. And, watching the fundamental news on what's happening in our economy and, exchanging the rates, just like how if you're going into traveling to Mexico, right? We're all exchanging our money, right? Yeah. People don't even know that they're participating in the Forex market, right? But you're not getting paid, right? Because their digital platform is just for you to exchange your rate, for you to have their currency. But you could actually use your capital and trade.
And now we have, I think, interesting... Now we have cryptos too, which that's a whole new fundamental.
Cryptos is becoming a whole new shift of digital.
Yeah.
So
I think they'll drive other things down. Like that's another example. Like there might be one day when you think gold's supposed to go up, but like some crazy crypto news comes out on Bloomberg.
That's the problem. That's the problem because a lot of people think that gold is always gonna devalue, and I doubt it. Yeah. Like gold is always gonna be something that is gonna be heavily invested in. Why?
It's always gonna be valuable.
Why? Because people are buying jewelry all the time. People love jewelry, right? Yeah. People want to have their VVS diamonds on it. They like that shine. That's never gonna go away. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone loves gold. So when you have people that have the demand for gold, it's always gonna be there. But when you have cryptocurrency, everything is so brand new to a lot of people's eyes. People are going to want to invest into something. Why? Because it's shiny and it's something different.
And it's a new correlation. Yeah. Like, for example, this is another example where we might be looking at the chart one day and it might look like, I don't know, gold's supposed to go down, but maybe somebody, Wolf Blitz or whatever, maybe somebody on like Bloomberg says something phenomenal about crypto. People then right there psychologically are going to go and buy crypto, and there might be somebody who's like, oh shit, I gotta sell my gold. I gotta hop into crypto. So like there's a new player in fundamentals, which is crypto. And I'm not telling you guys crypto is better than gold, but I'm saying they're for sure directly related. And when people speak in the news and they tell you to buy crypto, there's going to be a lot of old school investors or new school who are like, maybe I should sell some of my gold. Maybe I should use this crypto. Yeah. Or there might be people who are on the fence who usually only invest in gold. And now they're like, I don't know, maybe I should get into crypto. And it also vice versa.
And it also comes down to people that have so you have like Warren Buffett that owns like good amount of companies, right? He could cause a shift in a market, just because everyone knows that he's a big time
Think
player,
about if one day he was like, crypto is the way to go.
Yeah.
People who are like 16.
Everyone has become sheep. They're like, what? Warren Buffett is buying what?
Gold would tank. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, gold would immediately
Yeah.
tank because people would sell gold and be like, well, Warren Buffett says I got to buy crypto, so I'm going to sell all my gold and buy crypto. There's an example of fundamentals when the chart might not say it's going to tank,
Yeah.
but it does. So
True.
this is a good learning lesson for you guys, like to pay attention to what's going on in the news. Like people literally influence the market.
Yeah.
Like the big players do that.
Yeah.
And they have the power to do so.
You
We
got
can-
the big players, you got the banks, the corporations that you always wonder why banks, skyscrapers are always so high.
Wow. Yeah, why are they so high?
Yeah, because
They hide from us or something? I don't know.
And it's funny because what people do not know, especially when it comes to the Forex market, if you guys are not aware, we are the consumers for the banks. If I always dreamed about something that if we all said no and said fuck you to the banks, I wonder how long they would
fucked.
even just be flowing, because they're using our capital to actually participate in the Forex market.
I told that to Brooke the other day. I was
Yeah.
like, Brooke, listen
You
to
can
this.
keep all your money in a bank account. That's great.
'Cause she
the
was
banks
ask-
are gonna love you.
Yeah.
But then they always question you for how much you want to take out. What are you gonna do with it? You know,
Exactly.
they start questioning you. And it's just like, look, it's my money. I work hard.
I was trying to
They're
explain.
like, yeah, it's great, but they want all of it so they could keep trading.
People probably don't know that. Like
Yeah.
you taught me that. I was trying to talk about like crypto and banks, and I was like, hey, listen, you know that the money you have in your bank account at Chase or Wells Fargo, like your banks are using it to trade. She's like, no, they're not. I'm like, yes, they are. They are trading your money all the time, making more money.
Yeah.
So that is one theory, is that with the creation of cryptocurrency and coin and the blockchain, it gives people a little bit more freedom, and it does take some control away from central banks, and it takes control of the government because and not to go too sideways, but the US dollar makes the world go around.
Yeah, that's true.
If the dollar goes down,
it's valued in good amount of countries that, you know, a $5, even a $10 is a lot.
but
So
if crypto takes over, the dollar goes down. The power of the government then goes down. Like that smashes the U.S. government.
what the government can't control is what they can't make.
Yeah.
So it's
So there's gonna
frustrating
be
because the
that
government wants
battle.
their hands on everything. So
And who knows? But I will say I look at fundamentals, and I think like I don't know. I only know Forex trading from 2020, which is weird. But I bet you this industry probably is always changing. Like probably what worked in 2018 doesn't work
always
now.
changes, and that's the beauty of it. When it comes down to trading, is that you got to learn and stay adapt to market conditions.
Yeah.
Like if you're not aware to what's happening in our economy, then you are not going to be catching those big moves that you want to capture.
I bet you
Right?
2021 has a whole new set of like conditions and rules for us to follow.
Yeah.
Like probably when you were beginning market Forex trader, it's probably not. There's probably like new correlations now and new relations. So I always am looking for like new things, even though I don't. 2020 was wild. But
Yeah, like, I remember when I first started, it was just very fluent. Like it was like correlation. You know this. If I'm seeing, you know, the U.S. index going up, oh yeah, I'm selling British pound. I'm selling EU. I'm selling gold. Like, you know, it was automatically without even hesitation. Now you really got to start to question, because like we have, you know, one of the most wildest presidents that we've had for the 4 years. Like, you know, really didn't accomplish a lot, but besides help a lot of like, you know, successful people pay less on taxes, which you know, I'm not complaining.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, but
Didn't hurt me.
but then you have, you know, you have a lot of stuff coming up to light this year. You know, you have the vaccine, you have conspiracy, you know, you have, you know, a lot of people in Hollywood, you know, you have a lot of deaths just happened this year. Like, you know, it's so much traumatic events at back to back to back. There was like no break. You know, you had the Black Lives Matters movement. Like you had, you know, Antifa. You got people rioting malls and hurting us, because who pays for that? Everyone that lives in the city, right? That's coming out of
crazy.
your paycheck. The government ain't paying shit.
Nope.
They're just gonna be like, oh, all right.
Nope.
Well, you know, that's why we have the people for. We're their insurance to the government.
It's crazy. And every country is going to have their own issues, like Brexit before. You know, every country is going to have their own issues, and that's going to affect the currencies and their relations. You know, 2021 is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very interesting. I'm really excited to see what kind of news events that are going to happen for 2021. So, leading into a whole different year, let's just see. But I know this whole vaccine talk is going to be still carried on. They have to sell. It's a selling point. They have to get it out there that, hey, this is what it's going to do. They're not making it mandatory, you know. Yeah. I mean, they're making it mandatory, but like to some extent, you know.
Yeah, not everybody's going to have to take it, but they do have to kind of sell it. But
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see, like even when we were at the gym the other day talking to that JC, the doctor, you know, we just met him.
You have doctors that are like,
he's like, no, I'm not taking that.
Yeah, I'm full on board. I'm going to take it. And then you have other doctors that are like, nah, I'm going to take a pass. Yeah. So you figure that these are the people that we go to see when we're sick, right? And they're not even sure if it's even good
That's
for us.
A big statement. When he was like, I don't know if I'm ready to take this vaccine. He was a doctor.
Yeah.
Like a practicing doctor. And he just straight up, you could see the look in his face when we asked him. And I expected him to say he was going to take the vaccine. Yeah. I totally expected him. And when he said no, I was like, interesting. Mm-hmm. I just figured like doctors and stuff, they are all like, I don't know. I feel like they're all on board with it anyway because they're in the medical field and they're kind of like, well, it's a vaccine. This is what we do. We practice like Western medicine.
But what people don't know that in the medical field is also business as well.
It's definitely
the more clients that's coming to the hospital, that's your paycheck.
Yep.
You know, especially to top it off even more, giving you a subscription, that's even an add-on as well. So that's a commission in the business world, right? Give them probably the wrong subscription. They come back. Oh, I'm feeling this because I took that. Oh, here's another subscription. Come back. You keep the retention of the clients. Keep coming back to the hospital.
I bet you in like
I've seen horrible. When I've went to my visit, there's been horrible doctors. I even question. I'm like, why are you even a doctor?
Yeah,
like,
some of them are so old. No offense if you are old. I just say some of these doctors are so old.
It's true. That's why people do not go to hospitals. Why? Because they hate it. The smell is horrible. The food is trash. You know, you fall asleep and you're showing your ass majority of the time when you turn around. So I would never say anyone be like, I love the hospital. Starts to really question,
Dude,
what drugs have you really been taking?
Speaking of drugs, I wonder if like in 2025 or like, I don't know, 2030, I bet you attorneys are waiting to be like, if you took the vaccine in 2021, you might be entitled to some lawsuit. That's for sure going to happen.
I feel like we live life as a monopoly board.
Everywhere
you go is a transaction.
There's guaranteed there's attorneys lining up waiting to be like, yep, watch what happens in 2 years when some people get affected by the vaccine. We're going to sue them. Mm-hmm. We're going to sue them and everybody's going to jump on board. Man. It's just every time there's like whatever medicine you see on TV, you see it on TV and then like 3 years later, I'm like, oh, I remember seeing commercials about that 3 years ago.
Especially those trauma lawyers.
And then I'm like, oh, you might be entitled to like a settlement. I'm like, weird. I used to see commercials about that all the time. It's kind of sketch.
Yeah.
Vaccine for sure is going to be like that. So, I mean, we're going to have to, as traders, we're going to have to pay attention to all this stuff. Yeah. We're going to have to do our homework. I mean, I can speak, I'll even, you know, my personal biggest loss as a trader was when I was on a roll, just cruising, trading for probably 3 or 4 weeks straight. And then I got lazy and I did not look at the news and I'm trading the indices. You know, I took a huge smack in the face loss. And I was telling the students on our call earlier, I'm like, guys, the reason I'm teaching you stuff is because I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. Like it's so easy as a trader to just think that you got the market structure, you find the highs and lows. And then I've done that. I've literally done that. I've been trading US 30 and German 30 and I think I know it all. And I'm throwing lots out there. Then one morning I wake up and I'm trading. I'm like, damn, I should have looked at the news because that was wrong move after really the wrong move. And no matter how good you are, that's going to happen. So that's why I think the whole topic of this podcast is like the Forex market is driven by probably things that we don't even know. Like those banks, the policies, like big banks move the market, you know?
Well, we do know, like, you know, especially when big contracts are signed, like especially with like oil running for the month of December, you know, we're basically trading on like the January's contract. So like, you know, people should be knowing these things, especially if we live in America. You should be knowing every damn thing that's, especially economy wise, that is really funding, like, how is our country moving? How are deals being, being exported? How are, things that's being traveling, that especially with the automotive, business as well too. Like, where we have Joe Biden wants to have everyone driving electric cars. Like, that's going to hurt oil, especially for a lot of, like, in the automotive
hurt a
business.
whole industry.
Yeah, industry. So, and that with news like that will cause oil to tank dramatically, to fill down on the June contracts that we had earlier this summer. So, so things like that, fundamentally based, is where you're really going to have access to information and knowing that you could, watch the news, not like we're little and be like, what the hell are they talking about? Just guys all dressed up in suits. Like,
that's probably the best part about being a trader is like
you keep learning. This is why you always got to keep learning. You can't just say you're going to base everything on structure and what you see on the chart. The chart is great. Yep. But like, that's not where the money's at. The money's at is where you can actually interpret those fundamental news that's being released, and then you have your analysis. So if they're aligned, perfect, within structure, then you capitalize.
Yeah, you learn about the world that's going on around you.
Yeah, but you shouldn't, like, if there's nothing that you see, you shouldn't want to be forcing any kind of trades. Like, let it be. Like, let the market move, let it react. If there's news, great. Now you could pay attention to when those news actually comes out and you saw what it affected on the market. Then you're like, wow, that's powerful. Like, so that's how you're gonna keep learning. You can't just say, oh, like, if I put myself in an example and I made 100K in a month and I'm like, oh, okay, I know it all. Like, no, I would never say that.
No,
because every year is gonna be something different.
Always,
especially every 4 years when we have a new president. Like, when President Obama, when I was trading, was phenomenal. Like, it wasn't too crazy volatile, but it was good at its moments. When Donald Trump comes into office, we see the dollar really dropping. I've never seen the dollar drop that hard when a president like him was in office. So, the fact that I've been trading within 2 president terms, I could see the value of perception that was been given out, like the deals that they agreed on, the remarkable stuff that was passed and and made you disagree and stuff like that. It was just like, did this really pass? Like, they really allow this to go? Like, Obama out here bombing countries, like he's putting tea into water. Like, it was just like, that's not, if you want to say that that's the American way, like, fight everybody, but you want everyone to be united. Like, all you're doing is just building enemies. Like, so got Russia out there just waiting, rubbing those hands. They're just waiting for an opportunity. To happen. Like, and then China is a main catalyst. Like, China is gonna be the most wealthiest country, and we haven't even seen shit.
They're so volatile and like also secretive. It's scary. It's weird.
They don't even allow. Since they're such a communist country, they don't even allow their people to even trade in the market.
No, oh yeah,
it's a very selective people that could have access to that.
The internet is so
the whole country is like, nah, that's it.
I don't know if y'all are listening to this and you don't know, like, we in America, if you're listening to this in America, we own for the most part have free internet, which is good and bad. We have like dumb stuff like Jake Paul and we have to deal with, but in other countries,
but look at who makes the routers. China, like, they provide that value of providing internet providers, right, to Americans, right, and then we gotta cut in like a deal to see, hey, we're using your service, blah blah blah, so we could have access. Like, I remember there was a time when me and Mike were talking about this, when China was I think Trump wanted to cut all ties with Trump, with having their internet service providers, and the farmers took a big hit because that's their only way of communication. So, when they have their 5G, their 4G towers and stuff like that, it took a critical hit because they can't communicate from another farmer and hey, I need this, blah blah blah. It cuts out their communication. So we don't have food being developed and stuff like that and not being communicated. That's going to affect the grocery stores, right? the distribution centers, you know, and we need food to survive. Like, you know,
I bet on that topic, I bet most people don't know that governments control what you can actually look at on the internet. You don't even know.
Yeah.
Like last year,
like, for example, like
India
even
turned off the internet 100 times, over 100 times. They turned off the internet.
Yeah.
Like, bye-bye. Over 100 times, the government of India literally shut it off for a whole day.
Yeah.
Like other countries can do that. Like China governs what their people actually see on the internet. America is kind of like Wild Wild West. Like we pretty much, for the most part, see whatever we want. But other countries, their governments, strategically, if you go on Google and like they'll censor some countries don't allow WhatsApp. Yeah. Some countries don't allow Facebook. Yeah, some countries don't allow Twitter. But you can't even access it there.
Yeah, but that all comes down to big tech companies. You know, look at just for example, look at Facebook. It started from a dude that went to Harvard and wanted to create a whole social platform. Look at the influence that it has today.
It's wild.
It now has a whole lawsuit from the FTC.
Yeah. And there's Facebook ads and everything, marketplace. It's crazy.
And they're watching.
And they tried to make a crypto.
Yeah,
Libra,
and you realize since they own IG as well too, and you post anything during COVID, you have like the whole COVID policy on the bottom, like this and that, or
with my videos they do that.
Yeah, or you're misleading information. Like really?
It's crazy.
So freedom of speech is just completely gone. So we can't just post what we post. It's just everything's being monitored.
That's just an example. People need to be aware that like we could go that way. Other countries are like that. Like China, they govern you. Like there might be one day. It's funny because there's people who build their whole like careers off of like just maybe YouTube or Instagram. There could be one day where the government's like bye-bye. Yeah. Because Twitter is gone in some countries. Like you can't use it. You legit can't use it in some countries. So I don't know, back on the topics of like the Forex market, what would you give advice to traders entering the 2021 market? You know, like how do we look into it? Because like what drives the market? And I don't know, what are we looking at going into 2021?
Yeah, going into 2021, especially when Biden gets in office, that should be very crucial. Seeing what his overall plan on what he wants to get addressed, that's going to be a very influential part when it comes to the market. People even getting elected, like in the Supreme Court, as well as stuff like that. Any agreements that he makes outside of the U.S. or if he's just going to be a puppet to China, which I believe so, wants China just to let them rule the world. So those are kind of like my crucial points that should be, and also pay attention to what he's going to do with oil as well, because I really am curious to.
It'll be really interesting to see what he does.
Yeah, because like he has addressed it many times that he's against it. So, it should be definitely interesting. I know he's trying to make it seem, not make it any kind of racial innocent host, like who he gets into office to show diversity, right? To play the role and see how everything unfolds. But the beginning of January is gonna be very hot. Like I highly suggest you focus on that. Forget about Valentine's Day. Like that's in February. You don't need it. Focus on what's happening in our country and how you're going to survive, because that's the most important thing. Like, how are you going to survive? How are you going to meet ends meet? How are you going to pay the bills? That's all it really comes down to. Everything else could, hopefully take care of itself, but that should be the main priority. Like, we're heading into a different era where, there's a lot of different ways to invest, especially online. If you're not investing to anything online that's passive, you're losing. You could work hard on your craft all you want, but if nothing that is being introduced in a passive income revenue,
you have to open up your mind to what works for like
to open your mind.
Financial advisors. No offense, we're not financial advisors, and we're learning.
I'm not. I don't want to be anyone's financial advisor, honestly.
But
the only account I want to be looking at is my mobile app. Swipe. Check. All right, cool. All right, let's go.
But I think about like
and keep investing. Keep investing. Don't buy unnecessary things.
Yeah.
Keep investing.
Don't be closed-minded. Don't think just because like your stockbroker or whatever says like you have to buy mutual funds. Like, I'm not saying don't buy them, but like maybe do some other things too, because life changes. Think about it. There was direct mail, then there was email, then cell phones, then internet. Then there was just coins, then dollars, then credit cards. now there's cryptocurrency. It's like you got to think about there's more things coming. Just like Ken said, there's more ways to invest. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a good one. That was spicy. Is there anything else you want to talk about? That was kind of the main thing I wanted to talk about for traders.
Also to hop on to that one person, knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power unless it's applied. You could have all the power of knowledge, but if you're not applying it, it's just a use. It doesn't make any sense. So always apply what you're learning and then keep it on repeat.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. So that wraps up episode 48.
Good one. If
What
we don't
is the driving force in the market, talking about the economy, talking about why you should be having your mind open to possibilities and opportunities, being aware on fundamental news. If you guys are traders, I highly encourage you guys do so. You know, if you guys are watching Netflix, just turn on and watch what's happening in our country. Like, you know, what's going to be happening, you know, when Biden's in office, like what is his terms that he wants to lay out. So stuff like that is going to keep you more aware to, you now know you could actually break down to someone that's not aware. So the more we all support each other and educate to the masses of people, because there's a lot of people that don't know. And unfortunately, that it's just how our educational system is in our country, which is poor. But we need to know what's going on, you know? So, and if they use big words that you don't understand, just Google it.
Yeah. You'll figure it out.
Just Google it.
But if we don't see you all before Christmas, everybody have a happy holidays. And one thing that I usually do, because you take 3 or 4 days off, and for example, I go home. I'm from Tucson. I go home, you know, a few days before Christmas, and it's fun, and I take plenty of time to sit around with the family. But there are some times where I'm literally just sitting around chilling. Yeah. You know, if you have a couple of extra free hours to unplug from career, maybe read an hour of something to get ready for the new year. Read an hour about FOREX. Read an hour about something. You know, take time, enjoy your family, have a Merry Christmas. But I find that during these holidays, because I can chill out from like, real estate, I have a little bit more time to like, oh, maybe I can read about this. So it's a good time. Yeah, good time to learn. So.
All right.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. That goes episode 48. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Y'all have a happy holidays if we don't make another episode, but and happy trading.
Let's get it.